Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Inside Guns with your host, me, the Yankee Marshal. I got asked a very interesting question during the live chat the other night. The question was, is S.O.B carry, or small of back carry for those of you who are not familiar, as risky as appendix carry, or can it actually be done safely? Well, to answer that question, it is not as risky as appendix carry. Appendix carry is very risky, and you have to know that when you decide to carry that way, that you're putting, speed or comfort above safety. Now, with appendix carry, you're always pointing your gun at something sensitive. And there's no real way to draw that gun without doing that. I've proven that in videos before. If you want to take a look at that video, there's a link in the upper corner. I've showed you where the path of that bullet will be when you're drawing that gun, whether you're fat, skinny, whatever. So it's very unsafe. Now with S.O.B carry, or small of back carry, the reason it's risky is because of your spine. The gun being up against your spine. It's not got anything to do with it being pointed at anything sensitive, because it isn't. It's pointed at the ground behind you. And you don't necessarily have to flag yourself when you draw it. So those aren't the big concerns with small of back carry. It's the fact that it's right up against your spine. In fact, it's right up against the lower part of your spine, a very sensitive part of your spine, right below your lumbar section of your spine. If you take a look at a human back, let's look at my back here. And yes, I know what you're saying. Nice ink. I didn't know you were so religious. Well, I'm not really. When I picked that design off the wall, I thought it was Jared Leto. So, mistakes were made. But let's look at where you're carrying your gun when you're carrying small back. You've got it right there on your spine. And that's why most police departments have made it against the rules to carry there. You're not allowed to carry there in most departments because of the risk of back injury if you fall. If you're wrestling with someone, you fall down, that's like having a solid steel baseball right at the base of your spine that you land on. Not something you want to do. And what makes it especially dangerous is because of what people usually carry there. It's usually where their backup gun is at. And that was usually a very small semi-auto, or even worse, a small revolver. And revolvers are the worst thing you can carry there, because not only is most of the mass of the gun right over your spine, the thickest part of the gun is over your spine. It's actually touching bone, basically. And since it is thinner on both ends, the muscles on the sides of your spine aren't offering much safety. It hits your spine before it hits them. So all that impact goes right to the bone. And you don't want that happening if you fall. That's a very dangerous area to take an impact blow. So it is dangerous, especially if you're a police officer and you might be rolling around on the ground with someone. And it's also dangerous just simply because of a gun being right up against your spine, especially if it's a small revolver. This is one of the few times I tell people, don't carry small revolvers if you're going to carry small back. So if you choose something different, let's say you choose a semi-auto, a full size or even larger, medium size to full size or larger semi-auto. They're the same thickness all the way down. And they're spread out more. So they do hit the back muscles, maybe even the buttocks. It actually stops the biggest part of the gun from being driven directly into the bone, directly into your spine. So you don't have as much risk of danger there. It's like I said, it's the difference between someone taking a hammer and hitting you right there in that spot and someone taking a board and slapping it into you right there in that spot. A lot different. The weight is spread out more. The impact is spread out more. The gun has more volume and length, though it is actually hitting more muscle and more other fatty tissue. So there's more cushion. So there's a lot of things there making it more safe or making it less unsafe. Now, it's not 100% safe. No carry method is 100% safe. Having a gun on you comes with some inherent risk. And this isn't as safe as, say, like .330, but it's still pretty safe. Because, like I said, you've mitigated the risk of having a spinal injury by having a larger gun that is actually spread out more and not sitting directly on your spine with, the most of the metal right there against the bone. So you've mitigated some of the risk. Now, there is also risk of flagging yourself when drawing from this position. That's another risk. Unlike with appendix carry, though, you can actually avoid doing it. Just practice your draw. When you're drawing, don't draw in a way that you're flagging yourself. Don't pull the gun straight out and then just flip it around. taking the muzzle past your abdomen. Not a good idea, especially not when you're under stress. Practice, practice, practice drawing this gun to where you draw it straight out, point the barrel straight down, and then bring it forward. And that way you have mitigated the risk of flagging yourself with the gun. So that is a way you could be a lot safer right there. Practice, practice, practice drawing. Don't practice it loaded at the range. That's how most people hurt themselves. If you pay attention, that's when you see a lot of people shoot themselves, is when they're practicing quick draws. So I don't ever really recommend that. I think you're at less danger having less training in that situation than you are. You're in more danger by training with a live firearm for that situation. So practice with an unloaded firearm in front of a mirror until you get to where that's just, I would hate to say muscle memory, but old habit to draw that way. Because that's what you should be doing anyway. You should be drawing all the time with your gun, practicing in front of a mirror, because if you want to be able to do it the best you can when the time comes, practice. It's very important. So if you practice those things, mitigating the risk by choosing the right gun, don't have a small revolver right there on your spine or a small semi-auto right there on your spine. Get something that has more mass, is more evenly sized all the way down, actually spreads out the impact more, is a lot safer and a lot less risky when it comes to giving yourself a spinal injury. And practice how you draw it. When you draw it, make sure you're not flagging yourself. If you do that, small back carry can be pretty safe. Maybe not as safe as the safest methods of carry, but far safer than appendix carry, and definitely safe enough that if you do it every day, you're probably going to be okay.